Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today is a New Truth Tuesday. So I just climbed off the community classic conversations community day, homeschool day. So my brain is a little mush because we learn a whole week's of homeschool curriculum in one day, and we can go home and do our homeschool for the rest of the week. But I've got my spiritual sister waiting on the other side of this break for me. We're going to dive into some new truth, and she's been doing some research. We've been looking into some things, having some trouble finding some things, but the truth will not escape us. So we're here to have some critical thinking discussions and fill you guys in and catch up with the fam as well in the chat. So if you're in the chat, give us a like, share this video, and we'll be right back with the grief goddess, Amy Fulmer, on a New Truth Tuesday. Welcome back, Amy. Thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate you having my back. We've got a lot to unpack, and you've sent me a bunch of great links so we can dive in. I really appreciate you doing the work to find that thumbnail. We definitely want to honor our servicemen and women that were so violently sacrificed over in Afghanistan. This weekend when we were in Kansas City, there were several places that we went that they had drinks set out, and they had each service member's name printed to honor them, so that while everyone was, going along for their weekend, you would walk in a restaurant or a bar or wherever, and like the first thing you saw was a table with 13 drinks and their names. Or there were a lot. This has really hit Americans and hit hard, the way this was handled.
Absolutely, Lisa. And yeah, I mean, what seems to happen is when there's faraway places with casualties, we lose sight of these are someone's children. And in fact, we're going to open with, this will be a good time to open with the tweet. The tweet, I am going to get mine. This tweet is harsh, you guys, but I wanted to open with it, and I'll tell you why. As an angel mom, and you guys know my history of grief work, a lot of you may not know, but Lisa and I are angel moms, and I wrote a book. I do a lot of body of work with parents. I've done a lot over the years. My work is followed in 77 countries. So when I see an angel mom, it's like I feel like I have a bond to that person, because even though I don't know them, I know their heart. And these loss of these young men that we had over the weekend or last week, some of them were like 19 and 20. And to me, as a mother, that's almost still a child. It's a young man. It's almost like, if you've ever been around a 19 or 20 or 21-year-old, they're still like, they need to be told not to drive fast. You know what I mean? Like they just don't have enough life experience underneath them to really navigate the waters. And to see these pictures of these young men and women, I think it was only men that were killed. If I'm wrong, I will pre-apologize. I've only seen pictures of men. I haven't seen any pictures of women. Do you know, Lisa, was there any women killed?
Don't know. I can, I'll do some work while you're reading the tweet.
Okay. So anyway, I want to read this tweet, and I'll tell you why. This is an honor. This is an honor and tribute to the atrocities of how this administration mismanaged this situation. Whether it was by design is not the point. The point is it's the collateral damage of having this president installed and making these decisions as commander-in-chief is absolutely catastrophic. And anyone who doesn't think it is needs to listen to this tweet. I honor this mother. Because you know why? She voiced her opinion in a real way. So this is a tweet to one of the mothers that went to have to, I guess it's a duty to meet with the president. They don't have to go, but she went, and this is what she had to say after she met with Joey, you know, in the honoring of her son. I hope I get through this without
There
crying.
were at least 2 women that I see in the
Okay.
pictures.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, President Joe Biden, this message is for you. I know my face is etched into your brain. I was able to look you straight in the eyes yesterday and have words with you. After I lay my son to rest, you will be seeing me again. Remember, I am the one who stood 5 inches from your face and was letting you know I would never get to hug my son again. Hear his laugh. And then you tried to interrupt me and give me your own sob story. And I had to tell you, this isn't about you, so don't make it about you. You then said you just wanted me to know that you know how I feel. And I let you know that you don't know how I feel. And you do not have the right to tell me you know how I feel. You then rolled your fucking eyes in your head like you were annoyed with me. And I let you know that the only reason I was talking to you was out of respect for my son. And that was the only reason why. I then proceeded to tell you again how you took my son away from me and how I will never get to hug him, kiss him, laugh with him, etc. You turned to walk away, and I let you know my son's blood was on your hands, and you threw your hand up behind you as you walked away from me like you were saying, okay, whatever. You are not the president of the United States of America, Biden. Cheating isn't winning. You are no leader of any kind. You are a weak human being and a traitor. You turned your back on my son, on all of our heroes. You are leaving the White House one way or another because you do not belong there. My son's blood is on your hands. All 13 of them, their blood is on your hands. If my President Trump was in the rightful seat, then my son and the other heroes would still be alive. You will be seeing me again very soon. By the way, as my son and the rest of our fallen heroes were being taken off the plane yesterday, I watched you disrespect us 5 different times by checking your watch. What the fuck was so important that you had to keep looking at your watch? You are nobody special, Biden. America hates you.
I think that's awesome that she, used strong language. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
And that, she really got, of course, he's not reading that. It's important for her to really put that out there. I found a picture of all 13, and there definitely are 2 women in there.
Okay.
I do want to honor those servicemen and women, and
Right.
but they're, like some of them just are babies.
Yeah.
And
Well,
not that one life is more valuable than the other,
right.
but definitely want to.
So the reason I
So
just
much.
wanted to just share that is it was a tweet that really touched my heart. And I think that she was very brave. She's in a tremendous amount of pain. And she was so brave to speak her truth, whether you agree with it or you agree with the presentation or not. If she doesn't release her pain now, it will metastasize into illness, mental illness, physical illness, and our society does not allow that. And what I like is she had a platform to say she dropped some truth bombs. And the other thing, I'm just going to put a little caveat out. Everyone has the choice to believe about this administration what they want. I was very, very, very proud of her for speaking some other truths that 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago in America, people would have never said about a president. But now we have this horrific situation in America where we have an installed president. And so I think it's about time people start speaking the truth. And what she said, the last words, I think are going to become more and more true over the coming months. And so God bless her. And God bless our soldiers.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to, we had a chance to talk a little bit right before we got started, but, we never thought it would, or we hoped it wouldn't get this bad to wake people up and get them to start speaking out
Right.
like this. But people have had enough, and they are starting to speak out. And, every one of these things that are coming out, I've had no other response other than hashtag impeach Biden.
Right. 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 Right.
What else is the response? And I've been shocked that not only have I not heard anything from, I really don't expect much from the Dems, but I'm not hearing much from the Republicans either.
I know.
Why are they not calling him out?
Well, Lisa, I am on the war path. As everyone knows, I'm a registered Republican. I voted Republican my whole life. I will not vote Republican. Something's got to happen here because the Republicans have no, what can I say? There's a male anatomy. There's two of them.
Right.
They're cylindrical. They have none. And
here's the frustration with that, though. I remember there was one time when I registered as an independent. And so because of that, I didn't get to vote in the preliminary, the primaries. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. And so there's a real frustration with the way the system is set up. Then you get left out of part of the process in that way too. So it's almost like, well, it's
almost like we need a new party called the Patriot Party, headed up by DJT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll just put that off on the sidelines for now.
Some for Americans to fix it for sure. So.
Yeah. Well, Lisa, one thing you said, and then before we get into, I want to talk a little bit about Arizona. You had said, and I always remind you of this, and it comes back not to haunt me in a bad way, but I think about this often. About 6 months ago, we were talking, and you said that, we were talking about, could we have a peaceful, enlightenment of America, which includes the financial system, the political system. I mean, can we transition gracefully and easily? And we were hoping we could. And what I'm coming to find out, whether it's the financial system or the political system, it's all tied together. It's all going to intercept each other. And you said, Amy, the truth will come, whether it's the finance, the metals, whatever you're talking about where the fraud is. When people are in enough pain and they're ready to see the truth, that's when they'll be able to look at it. And I was hoping that you might have been wrong, but I don't think you were wrong, Lisa. I think that we're going to have to go there now. Like, I'm thinking we're going to have to walk through the fire. And only by doing that will individuals that have not seen truth, start to question everything. Everything has to be questioned. And B, none of us, not even you and me, know even close to the truth. We are so being lied to, and this circumvents me into Arizona. Okay, as you know, I have been following, and we've been talking on this show for months now about Maricopa County. I have been on the research trail for 2 weeks now.
Right.
It is
supposed to be the Friday before, and then it was like, okay, well, it's going to be last week.
And then we were supposed to have a press release last Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. They were going to have a presser. Zero. Nothing from Karen Fann. No, even Wendy Rogers. She's promoting her tour for all 50 states to be audited, but nothing about Arizona in specific. Nothing from Cyber Ninjas. The last I heard, so let me give you guys the update. First of all, I don't have any facts. These are snippets from my research the past 14 days. Okay. So take it with a grain of salt, because I've got to assume we're all being lied to now. Okay. But what I found out last week was that Cyber Ninja CEO and the team came down with COVID. So therefore they couldn't finish the report. To me, that smells like a rat in the wood.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not buying that.
I'm not buying any of it. So I've been combing and combing and combing. Crickets, you guys, crickets. The only thing that I can get is people on Twitter are asking, what's with Arizona? What's with Arizona? People want to know. People have not forgotten, you guys. People have not forgotten. So this is my opinion on the snippets of news that I've been reading, what little there is. And I have no links to post because nothing I can trust. I don't have enough to bring before you and say, I think we can trust this. This is my opinion and my theory. I think that when Karen Fan embarked upon this, she was looking to find out if there was some mistakes made in the accounting, like some kind of errors that would, be revealed so they could perfect the voting system here in Arizona. And that's what I think she thought. I do not think that Karen Fan thought that she was going to uncover what she did. So what I think has happened is this results have opened up Pandora's box, and the mother lode of crime and fraud is peeling their faces off right now. So I think what has happened is, as a result of the facts, they are managing something behind the scenes that is horrific. I think there has been multiple death threats. I think people are getting paid off left and right. I think that the lawsuits that are being lined up, because remember, it takes a while to create a complaint.
Right.
These are complicated constitutional complaints. And bear in mind, you guys, bear in mind, Karen Fan and everyone has also said that under Arizona state constitution, if there is fraud found anywhere in the voting system, then it becomes criminal. And once it enters that legal criminal status, then that means the votes here are null and void. They don't count. Now, I don't know if they're decertifiable or if we have to revote. I don't know that, but I'm sure they found criminal. And I think right now the chaos behind the scenes would make all of us, have some kind of mental breakdown, because there is no such thing as radio silent after this thing. The fact that it's radio silent says to me, number one, we know.
That's what I was going to say, is when there are, being involved in foster care and world and the legal process, the court process, involving that, the people that are in the know, the ones that don't have a clue, that aren't involved in the confidential information, they're the ones talking. The people that are involved in the confidential information, they're the ones that are legally bound and are not allowed to speak.
Right.
The ones that are party to the case, all that, they're the ones that have to be quiet. So it is very telling that it's so quiet. That makes me think that there are legal implications that are still ongoing.
Right.
Because there would be noise otherwise. I have heard rumors, complete rumors, nothing Durham may be involved. Because where's Durham?
Right. Well,
Once
Lisa,
again, still quiet.
right.
Why
I
so quiet?
scanned for Durham this morning. I just can't find anything that's meaty enough.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, Karen Fan did come out a few weeks ago on Twitter, and she admitted to getting death threats.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I just that is the one thing I know for sure. I think we talked about that the last show too. So Durham would be an interesting cat to take this thing over. There is a transition going on right now. They're handing over the powers because Karen Fan said, my job is to get the audit done and give the results to the Senate. The Senate got the results. They were supposed to release the preliminary findings. We haven't had squat. So what I think is happening is they're coalescing a team that can handle a criminal, because that's what's coming. And I personally, people say, well, we're never going to hear about it. It's going to get shoved under the carpet. It's going to be just like all these other things. I have a sneaking suspicion, you guys, and maybe it's just me being a Pollyanna. I think this is going to be revealed, and I think this may be one of the straw that brings down the camel's back. I have a funny feeling that this is going to come out, and when it does, it's going to be so painful for so many people, and it's going to cause such a daisy chain of problems in America, because there's going to be a side of the people that will dispel it until they see the facts. And if anybody watched the hearing with Cyber Ninjas, like someone who voted liberal and believes that it's just sore Trump losers, if you watch that and you have half a brain and you know anything about IT systems and how audits work, the evidence is compelling. It's in your face compelling. So hold tight on this, you guys. I have not lost the faith. The states are all watching, and all the other states have been quiet too. Crickets. No
There
other
was
states.
more information that came out from Georgia as well. I posted that on my Patreon, and I thought I sent it to you also, that there was more the F word proven there as well. And that one, over 80,000 mail-in were proven not accurate. And that one, I think he had only won by 10,000. So that came out as well.
Right. Is Georgia officially in a forensic audit now? Do we know?
I don't know. I don't know if that had started. I don't know about the forensic part. I just know that an audit had been started.
Well,
I'm not sure where they are in their process. There's also my friend Felisa that was on last weekend or last Tuesday with Satoshi Shawn and I project, and she was talking about the McCarran Act, and that in that the military gets involved, and there's a specific process with that. So there could be multiple processes where the military gets in control in that situation and does their own investigation outside of what as well. So there could be, multiple.
Well, I'm just going to say this, and then we can get into the Nuremberg info. I follow a lot of military people on Twitter. They are not happy with Joey right now. They are not. They feel like they were thrown under the bus, and they're standing in solidarity with one another. And this is not a good look for Joey, because if he has to call on them here at home.
No, did you see the pineapple?
Yes.
What did they call it? The pineapple
Operation.
Yeah. I want to say Pineapple Express because of that movie, but it wasn't that. But it was a bunch of retired
vets,
like Secret Service kind of special ops guys. They went in and tried Americans and translators and all this, special forces guys went in and like tried to do their own rescuing of American people. So,
well, Lisa, this brings us to the next screen. This is from the Epoch Times. These are the amount of Americans that are left as of today, like today.
Yeah, today is a heartbreaking day for America. To think that we would leave our own people behind in this,
Right. And what I don't like, I've heard clips of Biden actually saying that there's no people left behind. It's like weird. It's like the White House is claiming that, like, oh, they couldn't get to the airport on time. Are you kidding me? You are kidding me. And so the White House on one hand is denying that anyone was
Well,
left behind. And then on the other hand, they're saying, oh, well, oops, sorry, our bad. They didn't get to the airport on time.
not only the White House, but the Pentagon's also denying the people and the animals. They're saying that there were no dogs in those kennels, that no dogs were being left behind either. So it's multiple branches of the government that are denying that this isn't
Right.
even happening,
Right. So then what
which I have
happened?
my own
Yeah, right.
questions about all this stuff too.
But Lisa, what's really interesting about this was written on August 30th, and then it was updated today. You can see at the very bottom of the, if you look
Oh,
at
the
the,
article.
yeah. So it says here, the Pentagon has admitted that hundreds of Americans seeking evacuation have been left in Afghanistan, the Pentagon, after the last U.S. military plane departed Afghanistan's international airport a few hours before dawn. And then it's kind of bragging about it's the official end of the war, and Joey's a hero because he's ended this war. And then in other words, there's all this damage control. First, they say that no one's left behind. Now they're saying that there are people left behind. And then they said there's a lot of heartbreak associated with this departure. We did not get everybody out that we wanted to get out. That's bullshit. And the reason why it's bullshit, I'll tell you why it's bullshit. Do you know how many refugees they got out right away and landed them at Washington Airport? Dulles? Thousands of Afghan refugees were the first to come here. Do you know in the state of Arizona, they have what's that word, a repurposing? I forget the word that they use this word when they bring them over. They're already here. Resettlement. Okay. There are already Afghan refugees resettled, over 1,000 in Phoenix.
Well, here's my problem. Well, I have lots of problems with this, but here's the other thing. So the Supreme Court had reinstated Trump's stay in Mexico order, as well as they had to get the prick or whatever on the no, okay, let's forget about the prick thing. But so how is it that they can bring the Afghanistan people here? How come they can't make them stay in Mexico and process them or whatever, because they're refugees and they're bringing them directly over? It
Right.
just they did everything for them to bring these refugees before they bring Americans over. The priority was just, the whole thing was upside down, handled so wrong.
Well, and that's why, Lisa, I wanted to get into the Nuremberg trials, because I was watching this unfold and I thought the same thing. I was like, wait a minute, I'm looking at pictures of Afghan refugees. And oh, by the way, okay, I'm going to profile here a little bit. I'm just going to do it. In the pictures, they were primarily men. And in
Fighting age.
in their 18, 19, 20, and 21. I didn't see women. I didn't see children. I didn't see old people. So what that says to me is, well, why are they bringing over just that one demographic? Why? First of all, that's number one. And number two, why does any refugee have a priority? There are already 1,000 here in Phoenix.
Right.
Where's our American people? So I was thinking, that's why I wanted to talk about Nuremberg trials, because my mind said, in the way my mind thinks, I was like thinking to myself, this is so upside down. And I got to thinking about the Nuremberg, because one of the things about the Nuremberg trials was it was an international law that collated all the top decision makers that brought multiple sets of crimes against humanities. And then they went in front of a international panel of judges where the whole case was heard over a period of like 5 years. And then they decided some people should be killed, some people should be interned, some people got a slap on the wrist. And oh, by the way, you probably know this, Lisa, maybe from talking to Ben, but I had forgotten this or did not know. Do you know that a whole bunch of the people that went on trial or were supposed to show up to go to trial in Nuremberg escaped and came to America? Did you know that?
Resettled, yes. Well, I mean, there's the whole Operation Paperclip thing too.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
scientists and
So I'll bet
NASA.
if
Oh, I think
exactly.
NASA. Yeah.
Right. So
Mhm.
I'll bet
Yeah.
if you look back on those bloodlines, they're going to tie to today's politicians.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So we have a humanitarian, in my opinion, we have a president, yes, who does have blood on his hands. I can't get my tablet is not opening.
So, do you
So
want me to show that video that was from the History Channel?
yes, and
Okay.
then we're going to talk a little bit about. Yes, let's do the little history thing, and then we'll talk about the definition and document, because there's two really interesting bits about the Nuremberg trials that I think we need to bring back for today. So let's start with that, Lisa. That would be great.
Let's do- Hold on one sec.
So are his top lieutenants, Heinrich Himmler and Joseph Goebbels. But dozens of high-level Nazis are still alive and in prison. What do the Allied powers do with them? They take them to court in their own backyard. The Nuremberg trials were a series of international prosecutions that decided the fates of Nazi war criminals. Why hold these trials in the German city of Nuremberg? Well, for one, unlike a lot of German towns, Nuremberg was relatively undamaged by the war, and, just as importantly, the city had been the site of several infamous Nazi rallies. Prosecuting Nazi leaders there brought a symbolic closure to the Third Reich. Served by the four principal nations of the Allied powers: the United States, Great Britain, the Soviet Union, and France. These countries had their own laws and legal system, and had to settle on a common framework of justice. They couldn't try each defendant 4 different ways. So in August of 1945, they all sat the charter of the International Military Tribunal. With the London Charter, the Allies agreed that the defendants would stand trial and be allowed to have their own defense attorneys. Instead of a single judge, there would be a tribunal, 4 judges, 1 from each Allied country. The London Charter also defined the 3 major charges: crimes against peace, like planning and starting a war crimes, such as killing POWs, and crimes against humanity, in other words, killing civilians, as the Nazis did during the Holocaust. The trials lasted at Nuremberg from 1945 to 1949, but the highest were brought to court between 1945 and 1946. This period was known as the trial of the major war criminals. Among the 22 Nazi leaders on trial at Nuremberg were Gestapo founder Hermann Göring, Deputy Führer Rudolf Hess, Nazi Foreign Minister Trapp, and the German architect Albert Speer. 2 additional, one, Labor Chief Robert Ley, killed himself before the trials. The other, weapons manufacturer Gustav Krupp von Bohlen und Halbach, was declared mentally unfit. He was senile. Starting in November of 1945, the tribunal heard testimony and reviewed evidence for 216 court sessions. The horrors and crimes of the Nazis were put on display for all the world to see. 46, the court handed down its verdicts: 12 death sentences, including those for Göring and Ribbentrop. 3 got life in prison, 4 got lengthy jail terms, and 3 were acquitted. Nothing could undo the devastation of the war. Nothing could bring back the millions of lives lost in the Holocaust and the millions more lost in battle. But the Nuremberg trials were an important international system of justice. They established important legal precedents for future international trials, including those for Japanese. Decades later, in Rwanda and the former Yugoslavia, the Nuremberg trials officially entered the crimes of the Third Reich into the historical record, so that there would be no doubt about what each had done.
Interesting that one of them was senile.
Yeah. How convenient. How convenient.
Yeah,
How convenient.
it really plays into our story.
Well, yeah. And also the main star killed himself, which was Adolf Hitler. He was supposed to be tried and he committed suicide. So, if that doesn't tell you something. But what was interesting, Lisa, the the Encyclopedia of the Holocaust,
Okay.
that screen, the Nuremberg Trials Holocaust. There's some other interesting things, and there was a clause in here I wanted to read. This is where I think that I'm just kind of say it boldly. I think there's a tie between what happened in Afghanistan and what the people here were tried for that could be resurrected, because I believe that the military on both sides are so culpable that they could fall under this law. This law, I believe, is still on the books, this international law. And what's interesting is in this document here, it talks about if there was an agreement between the country, the senior officials, and the other country, and that agreement was broken, it can fall under the clause of a crime. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't DJT have wasn't there some kind of settlement between the Taliban or ISIS and Afghanistan before he left office? Wasn't that set in writing before he left? Lisa, do you remember hearing about that?
Oh, I know he wrote all those. I mean, he got what, 5 or 6 Peace Prize nominations for making all those deals. Maybe.
Well, I believe there was I know there was some kind of deal with ISIS. I believe he left something in place, and then Joe undid it.
Remember I remember him having the phone conversation, and he told him, I remember him doing the speech where he basically told him, yeah, fun, so rough over there. And he told him, like, basically, if you touch an American, I will rain down on you. And he got them to, I know, it's my understanding, yes, he did have some kind of arrangement. I don't know if it was written or just spoken or whatever, but
well, that's okay. But what I'm saying is that once these charters, and here's like a little interesting fact, and this is why my head was going through like, well, we need to bring this back. Because I think everything that's happening now, I think we have crimes against humanity. And I'm going to bring up this right here. I can't say the word.
No, the prick.
If we find out if the truth is announced, then that means every CEO of these drug companies would be part of this mass trial, mass prosecution, because it would be crimes against humanity. What they're doing now, everything from the, let's say these foundations from these tech titans, maybe I can't say these names, all these foundations and organizations that back the FDA, and they all have their hand in the profits from this, they'd all be swept into a big basket, and we could have something similar to this here. And I think it's very important not to forget this event in history, because there was some restitution. I mean, we had here, guys, this is really interesting. In all, there was 199 defendants, okay, were tried at Nuremberg. 161 were convicted. 37 were sentenced to death, including 12 of those were tried by the IMT, which is the International Military Tribunal. So they went to a military tribunal, okay, which is beautiful. And the Holocaust crimes were included in a few of the trials, but were the major focus of only the US trial. The defendants acknowledge that the crimes they were accused of occurred, but they denied they were responsible as they were following orders from a higher authority. So the reason I wanted to stop there was I was thinking about what's going on in Afghanistan. I think this is a humanitarian crisis when we have all these Americans left behind. We have dead soldiers. We have dogs that were abandoned. We have the Taliban running around in our soldiers' uniforms and using our militia. We have tomahawks and all the technology left on the ground for the Russians to come in and take and, decode. This is a humanitarian and security crisis. And I'm saying that this should be wound up into this right now. And if all the soldiers that took their instructions for the superiors, they may be able to get off the hook, but they have to be held accountable. And we could see some deaths. This is what needs to come back into our system. An accountability like this on a global scale, on an international scale, because they're crimes against humanity going across the globe. And this Nuremberg gets swept under the carpet. People kind of forget like it happened or it didn't happen. And, maybe it didn't happen. I wasn't taught squat about this in school, not squat. This is an important event in history. And oh, by the way, you guys, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago.
Here's another thing I shared, and it has not been deleted yet. I probably won't. I can screen. Hold on one sec. What you were just mentioning about today, I tried to jump on. It is tortures me. It's a love-hate relationship, but yeah, let's see. So if things are happening in the background, but aren't they're supposed to be public though, so for people to see. Maybe they're jumping ship early. I don't know.
Oh, yes. 2 senior officials left the FDA today very unexpectedly.
Yeah. So that was really interesting.
Yes. And I did a little investigation on that, Lisa, just so you know. These were officials that were involved to some degree on the quote unquote FDA regulation of the I think it's the Pfizer vaccine, which by the way is not really.
Don't say the V.
Oh, sorry.
You got to watch your words if we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, the jab. Can we say jab?
Sure.
Okay. They were involved with that and they evidently left. There is medical contract law that says the fact the FDA came out and said it was approved is actually not true. It has to do with the definition of FDA approval because it doesn't have the amount of clinical trials. It doesn't have the amount of years to actually, it has an emergency.
Right.
So in other words, they're getting around the law by using certain words, the implication.
Valid is what I call it. Yeah.
Yeah. Manipulating, the media's playing this up and it's inaccurate. It's fake, phony, and false. It's not truly, it hasn't been truly FDA approved yet. So these 2 senior officials just left today. Very unexpectedly, they resigned. Now, oh, by the way, why don't you show my little photo of the week? I'll be very careful what I'll say.
Okay.
I promise. But this photograph speaks for itself.
Okay. Let's see. Go back.
This photograph speaks for itself.
Blech. Everyone hold your.
Yeah, try not to get sick. All right, guys. See the picture here of our little friend here and this woman by his side who happens to, oh, by the way, be his wife. Well, she is head of the National Health Institute Bioaesthetics Division, and they are the company, are you ready for this, that approves the drugs for the FDA. You
gotta be kidding me.
I was like, you can't make this stuff up. I am like, what are these people? They are so incestuous. It's just one big cesspool of, oh well, the plot thickens.
And look, this guy's like, didn't the NIH fund pollution?
Yes. Oh, yes. And if you go back and look at the history of the NIH, they're up there with the CIA and, the IRS. I mean, they're a criminal organization. Oh, well, all of these are criminal organizations.
All the 3-letter agencies, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
so I was like, I got to send this to Lisa. This is our photo of the week. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
So it is coming out. I mean, and that's what I tell people when, I'm having conversations in general public and they're like, oh, how come this is not coming out? And I'm like, it's there if you want to look. If you want to know, it's out there. The problem is some people don't want to know. Like I literally have this one friend in my life that they're like, I just don't want to look. I don't want to look. I don't want to know. I don't want to watch TV, which give you good information, but at least try to educate yourself. Try to have critical thinking in your life. Have some conversations, and that's why we put this information out there. We're not telling you our opinion of it. I'm not even sure I'm like hell bent on what my opinion is on it. I'm just saying I like finding this information, having these conversations with people I respect, saying, what is your thought on this? What information have you had? Let's have these conversations. Only going to survive and get out of this and get better if we are going to have respect, open discussion, and bring critical thinking to our country and have these conversations and say, what's going on in our country? What are the results of something? Have transparent discussions. And that's the only way for us to move forward.
Well, Lisa, and I really hear you. And this is my fear. And I too have my family, many, many friends. Coming from California, all my friends were libs. And my heart is breaking because I feel that if you're not okay, first of all, none of us are getting real information. So let me just say that this is, we're all stabbing in the dark. Okay.
Right.
But at least we're trying to get something, because when the system breaks, and I will promise you guys something, and I make very few promises. When the system breaks, and it's going to break, and when I say break, I mean the financial system will collapse. The political system is already unraveling at the White House. We have an international mega problem. We've got China and Russia and Saudi Arabia, who last week pulled out of the petrodollar. I mean, all of this seems so far away, but what's happening, it's just pieces that are now converging. Lisa, pull up the picture of resettlement in Florida. And this is for the people, this is for your friends and family who don't think they can stick their head under the pillow and not address this. They might be able to for another 5 minutes, but the analogy is it's like being on the Titanic and thinking that if you just drink more champagne, the boat isn't going to sink. At some point over the next year, 2 or 3, I don't know when, you guys, I have zero idea on the timing of this system is going to break. The people that have a slight clue, like you in Lisa's audience, people that are in this community, people in the crypto community, people, that have been following it, preppers, they're not going to be held so in shock and awe. They're going to be knowing what's happening, because when it starts to happen, we will suffer banking failures. We will suffer a collapse of the dollar. The dollar is already collapsing. Mm-hmm. That will have ramifications. Now, see this picture right here? This is a picture of who are now coming into Florida. This is what they're calling, this is from The Hedge, okay? So this is I love the term resettlement. Don't you love this? They make it
I
sound
was like,
so
wait a minute, they weren't here before. They're not
right. Exactly.
resettling here.
Resettling. Right. I mean, I love these liberal, soft, warm, like resettlement. It makes it sound so lovely, you know? Lisa, can you blow that picture up and show the amount of people that are coming into Florida?
See if I can.
These are people that we have no history of who they are. We don't know where they're coming from. We have no medical history. We have no financial history. We don't know if they can work. We have no idea if they speak any English language. They're coming here thinking they're going to check into hospitals and get free education, and in most instances will. And this is just one state, guys. And Governor DeSantis, this article from The Hedge talks about he is demanding the Biden administration halt this federal program that is ushering in millions. And yes, Phil, it is a freaking invasion. Thank you for saying for what it is.
Yeah.
It's the most frightening thing when you see these pictures and pictures at the border. These people are being displaced, but yet we couldn't get 300 Americans out of Afghanistan. If you don't think that isn't a crime against humanity, I think it's a crime against humanity bringing these people in here with no place and no resources. Our country is broke, you guys. We can't feed our vets. We can't feed our own people. And there's about to be millions and millions homeless because of the rent moratoriums. I'm not commenting on my feeling about that one way or the other. I have strong feelings, but that's not my position in this show right now. Those moratoriums are ending here over the next few weeks. We are going to have millions and millions and millions of homeless people in every city in America. If you don't think that that isn't going to affect you, you're out of your mind. So for your friends that are saying now, and I have them too, Lisa, oh, Amy, this doesn't affect us. It's no big deal. You worry too much. When they start landing in your country club's golf course or your school's son's playground, or where you park your car outside your apartment complex, you're going to have a problem.
Well, and here's the other thing. We've had this hurricane right now, and it's going to affect our delivery. It's happening in our oil producing states.
Yes.
And that affects the economy exponentially with oil delivery. So Biden already shut down our oil pipeline here in the U.S. and
Right.
opened up, Russia's. So our gas prices, you think $3-4 is high? It's about to go sky high, and shortages.
Right.
So that's going to affect us all as well. We're just on the precipice, and not to be a fear monger and all that, but I don't see this. I just think it's going to all hit all at once. Remember that September is National Emergency Prepared Month. I think all the timing of this is perfect. I still, in my heart of hearts, believe the good guys are in control. I believe this is what is going to take to wake America up.
Wake people up. Right.
I'm sorry that this is what it's going to take. I believe it's going to get painful, but I think that all of you guys that are watching the show have water, food, little silver in your pocket, your cryptos. You have your lead and things that you can do to take care of it. Before we jump off here, today is the last day of August. So this is the last day to join my Patreon to be a winner to be entered this Keep Key, which is a hardware wallet that I am going to be giving away to one of my Patreon members. So I'll be doing a drawing tonight with my little cannonball. We print off all the names of all of our Patreon members once a month, and I give something away. And so I'll be giving that away on tomorrow's show with Public Awakening. And we'll be announcing what the prize will be for next month. So excited about that. So you can still join tonight. I won't print off the labels till tonight after midnight. So I give everybody a chance all the way through the end of the 31st. And tomorrow's September 1st. So it's a crazy, crazy month. I cannot believe we're
Yeah, and we also, guys, I have to say two things. I was just looking in the chat, and Tom says there's more to this than meets the eye. And I agree, Tom. This is so beyond what we even know. And I never want to get up here and want people to think that we're acting like we know so much, because we don't know squat. And I agree. I think this is so deep. But what I do think is that if we can keep talking, the first step to uncovering the truth is not denying it. We're not in denial. At least we're not in denial. And if you have anybody left in your tribe or a neighbor who's starting to question, what I think is happening now is, and I think this Afghanistan thing is a big wake-up call. I think for the first times, people that didn't care about international politics saw those dogs in those cages over there. It pulled on their heartstrings. And I think now people are getting bold and they're starting to question. And I think little by little by little, and that is the hopes of this show. Lisa and I come in here, and if you can share it with somebody, even if they're giving you blowback, they may just say, I think I'm just going to watch 10 minutes of that. And maybe they'll feel like that we're rational enough, or at least trying to be rational.
Right. And just having those conversations, like, what are you like? I think it's great. Everybody in the chat is posting, what fuel is in their area. Have those conversations with your friends. What's going on in your area? What are you seeing? Before we got started, we were talking a little bit, and I know we got to jump off here, but we were talking about, what we're seeing on the video or on Twitter in Australia. And then I'm talking to some of my friends in Australia, and they're like, yeah, that may be being skewed or hyped. And one of the things I saw was this video of a child being taken, and they're trying to portray it as it's a prick or to be pricked.
Right.
But the video, no one's wearing a face diaper. And like I said, I've been in foster care for a long time. And there are situations where a child is removed, and it looked like law enforcement was involved, and kids don't their parents, and parents don't like it when kids are removed from them. And so that looked like that situation to me.
Right.
And that situation was being repurposed, and we were being told it was because of the great infection. So what we're being shown get us riled up. And I have a double-edged sword with that. I've talked about it a couple times on the show. Like, I don't want to, if that are like, look, Lisa, shut up. We're trying to get people rights. Quit telling them that that's a fake blow-up plane. We need them to believe that that's a real plane, So but I think it's about, let's have the conversation, and it's more about us standing up for, I don't have my person here, but that our Constitution and our freedom and our rights and our sovereignty, and having those conversations to get to that point. Or was a kid, really being taken away? Was that video of the kid being taken away from the dad because of the great infection, or was it because of a parental situation or whatever? Because the conversation that we need to stand up for our rights and for our country.
Right.
Not the authenticity of a video necessarily. What the conversation needs to be. So having those conversations with your friends and your family. Love to you all. Join my Patreon. That is kind of the backbone of what is keeping the happy hour roadshow on the road. And we are building our sponsorships to help keep that moving and growing those opportunities. We'll be announcing the next happy hour location with special guests attending. We're excited about that too. So, we'll see you guys next time on the new normal. Take care.